Hello. This is Please Be Happy. It looks very cute. It's made by the same people who made What You Want and Highway Blossoms and a bunch of other cute girly pop games. I tried recording this before when I was sick and discovered that there's a lot of reading. And now I'm a little bit sick again, but I'm less sick. So hopefully this will go better.
Me! Tell me this story next!
There's some choices that were made with the voice lines that happen when you're on the menu. Like when you hit the options, she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Why are you judging me?" Anyways, what's this? A bookmark? A menu. Fog settled over the forest, far from the villages and towns, and with it came silence. Birch trees shivered, pondering the weather, and dropped their leaves in fright. Streams bubbled, unseen by man, and babbled like the birds in the trees. In the middle of the forest was a grove, and in the middle of that grove was a log. It had been years since it had fallen, once one of the proudest trees around, and now in death was home to an abundance of life. A line of frantic ants ran to and fro. Mushrooms, cloud-like and pillowy, sprouted across one side like a footpath for fairies. Nearby, an old toad flopped contentedly in the mud. And inside the deep, damp hollow of the tree, something slept. A traveler strolled into the grove. Their steps were slow and tired, and they spotted the log with relief, like greeting an old friend. Weary from the day's journey, the traveler sat to take a rest. Whoosh. With a scrabbling of nails on rotten wood, a shadow bolted from inside the log to the tall grass nearby. I'm realizing why I struggled so much the last time I was trying to record this. The traveler watched the brush rustle as a faint patch of fur appeared within. "Hello there, friend. Didn't mean to disturb you." They held their hand toward the grass, offering a piece of dried fish. At first, there was no reaction, and then first a snout appeared, quivering as it tested the air. Then followed the rest of the fox, sleek and tawny, as she took several slow steps forward. Her amber eyes were alight with mistrust, but also with wild curiosity. The stranger sat unfazed, their offering still outstretched. They dared to meet the fox's eyes, and in that glance felt something kindred. As the fox closed her jaws around the gift, a bond was made. "Maybe we aren't so different, you and I." The traveler returned the next day, and the day after that. Each day they brought some treat for their new friend. Each day the fox's steps grew a little more trusting. One day, when the traveler arrived, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently.
"Hello, my friend. Have you been waiting long?"
The fox peered up at the traveler. Her amber eyes were warm and trusting. She accepted her gift of meat, gnawing it at the traveler's feet then and there. The traveler sat, imprinting into their mind the feeling of the wood beneath them, the clean air around them, and the tender bond of companionship.
"Where is your home, little fox? Is it here in this grove? Or do you come to see me too? This will be the last time, I'm afraid. Because I'll be going home tomorrow. Home is such a small place compared to the rest of the world. Yet, it's some place I can't wait to return to. I wish I could bring you with me, little friend. I wish that you could see the world too. Your home is all around me though, isn't it? It's wherever the trees are, wherever the leaves fall. Little fox, perhaps it's you who's the more fortunate of the two of us."
All too soon, it was time for the traveler to go. As they bade goodbye to the forest and to the fox, they knew that they would not return, but that they would always carry the memories with them. The next day, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently. "Oh, no, Pearl." We did
We've
it.
now docked at Wellington Skyport. Thank you for flying with Kiwi Airlines, and we hope to see you again.
The intercom's announcement is muffled in the closet where I'm hiding, just like the clatter of the seatbelts and the chattering of passengers getting ready to disembark. I wiggle around impatiently, sore from crouching in here for I don't even know how long it's been. Hours, for sure. The last few minutes always feel like they take the longest. A parade of footsteps begins to pass by outside my door. It's time. I listen carefully, waiting for the gap in the crowd. When it comes, I stand up and push the door open in a single movement. I give a wink to the shocked-looking lady that I stepped out in front of. She doesn't even have time to gasp before I am out of her sight. Humans, they're always kinda slow. I nod at the smiling flight attendant as I pass her by and then throw up my hood to cover my face. It's been a while since I last flew, but it doesn't seem like things have changed much. It's always been harder to sneak on than it is to sneak off. I follow the crowd to the end of the walkway and step out onto the ground. After a long stretch, I take a deep breath and savor the fresh air after being stowed away for so long. Wellington Skyport, New Zealand.
I made it!
My breathless voice joins the pleasant hum of the skyport. Whoa! A few clouds drift lazily overhead, almost within arm's reach. The sound of the waves rolling onto the shore is like a lullaby. Makes me want to burrow into the sand and take a nap. But I can't. First I need to get out of here, and there's one more challenge ahead. Up ahead, the snaking line of passengers splits as people are funneled into a few security stations. While I'm too far back to hear what the guards are saying, it looks like they're examining a little booklet from each traveler before letting them pass. Humans sure like processes and procedures. I definitely don't have a booklet like that. Glancing around, I hope to find another way out. An open window would work, or even an unguarded exit. I'm pretty sneaky when I need to be. Unfortunately, it looks like the only way to leave is to go through security. Without any other option, I join one of the lines and prepare myself. Just have to do this the old-fashioned way. The line moves briskly as passengers are cleared one after the other, and I'm almost at the front of the queue before I know it. As the passenger in front of me approaches the booth, I listen closely.
Good afternoon. Passport, please.
Right here. It's good to be home.
I'm sure. Welcome back.
She stamps something in the man's booklet and then hands it back to him, and he continues on out of the skyport.
Next.
That's me. Don't know what they do to people without any papers, but don't want to find out. I'm sure it involves lots of questions, being escorted around, and other unpleasant stuff. Casually approaching the gate, I put on my brightest, friendliest smile while keeping a slight distance. With my breathing steady and tail calm, I'm sure I put on a convincing act.
Passport, please.
Of course!
I fumble around in my pockets, pretending to look for my passport. Instead, I grab the useless, clunky phone that I've been carrying around and let it clatter to the ground at the guard's feet. As expected, she bends down to retrieve it for me.
Oh, let me get that for you.
And I make a run for it, bolting ahead and rushing past the security booths as quickly as I can.
Hey, you wait!
Stop!
By the time they realize what's happened, I already have a few seconds head start. My inhuman speed, combined with the natural chaos of the skyport, should also buy me a bit of time. Still, I've got to get them off my tail. What? Dashing through the skyport doors and out into the road outside, I don't even have time to take in the city. Without stopping for breath, I run into the narrow streets while weaving between cars and shocked bystanders. Being seen by so many people like this is annoying, but it won't matter by tomorrow. Putting the thought out of my mind, I vault over a low wall into a nearby alley and land in a crouch. Out of sight, but only for a moment. Close my eyes and relax my muscles. All feeling disappears except a slight warmth against my neck. My secret weapon. The unremarkable looking necklace is one of my only possessions, and by far the most important. Certain one of the beads strung around my neck begins to heat up in response to my will, a soothing warmth flowing through my body. My hands and feet begin to morph first, the fur chasing up my arms and legs as they distort and shorten. This sensation was so bizarre the first few times I tried. It's amazing how it's become second nature by now. Closing my eyes, I let my body and head shift and turn. Face is always a little uncomfortable, my once human face changing and lengthening into a snout with some difficulty. Oh! Complete with a sound effect? Process complete after only a few seconds, but I open my eyes not as human, but as a fox. Dart away without waiting, far quicker on 4 legs than I ever could be on 2. Obstacles like this stack of garbage cans ahead would be a pain to get past as a human, but instead I'm able to flip between the gaps without slowing down. I feel like this is also more conspicuous now, though. Sounds like the security guard hasn't given up on me yet. Pick up the pace, running as fast as my paws will take me. Her heavy breathing gets farther and farther away, and in just a minute or two, I know I'm safe. Don't know where I am, but it's not like I knew where I was when I started running. Almost feel bad for the lady who was chasing me. She never stood a chance. Even in the crowded city streets, there's no way anyone or anything can outrun me. The wind just wishes it could keep up with me. Comfortable that the danger's past, I slip into another alley. Once I'm sure that I'm alone, I close my eyes and concentrate on the form I want to take once more. The familiar flowing warmth runs through me again, my body stretching and deforming at my command. A few seconds later, and I open my eyes to glance at my hands.
Better luck next time.
I love that it looks like we ran right back to where we were. Brushing the dust off myself, I nonchalantly stroll out of the alleyway and back into the street. The odd person walks by on this errand or another, not paying any attention to me. Just the way I like it.
Left, right, past turn, left.
Mapping out my path in my head, I look for a way to the main roads. It'll be easier to get my bearings there. Pick turns at random without any real destination in mind. When I decided to make the journey to Wellington, it was pretty impulsive. I'd overheard another pair of travelers talking about it and how beautiful a city it is. With the moment now to take in the scenery, I can see that they weren't wrong. The streets around here seem like a mix of homes and businesses. Everything is very colorful. Even the brick walls are covered in pictures and paint. In the distance, I can see green hills that are lined with houses, as well as green hills that are completely empty. There are a lot of hills, now that I look around some. Oh, beautiful! From just a few streets away, the sound of pedestrians and busy intersections floats my way. I head in its direction, taking shortcuts through yards and driveways when it's convenient. In one lawn, a big dog growls at me as I walk past. But when I transform and growl right back, he tucks his tail and runs away. Dogs and I have always had an understanding. After squeezing through one last narrow side street, I finally emerge onto what looks like a main road. There's no cars here, but tons of people on foot. There are brightly colored signs and decorations on most of the buildings. In the middle of the street, there are fountains and benches and trees and all kinds of stuff. Best part is the variety of stores. When I stroll past a few of the windows and peek in, I can already tell that I'll be able to do most of my shopping around here. There are stores with food, clothes, just about everything else. Don't have any money on me, but that isn't exactly a problem. What is a problem is that it's too fucking crowded. Dodging a couple of security guards is one thing, but trying to escape down a busy street with lots of people could be too much even for me. I'll just have to remember where this place is and make another visit later after all the shops are closed. Then a man in a bright coat hurries past me, talking loudly on his phone in a language I don't recognize. He's so distracted that he doesn't even notice when his wallet falls out of his pocket and onto the sidewalk. It's almost like he threw it there just for me. I notice, of course. Seeing an opportunity, I zip over and snatch it up. Prying open the black leather pockets, I find...
Score!
a couple of bills in what I figure is the local currency. I slide the money out and into a pocket of my jacket. By now, the man is so far ahead that he's almost out of sight. Have to hurry to catch up to him to give him back his wallet, and he barely even says thank you.
I should have just kept the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know why you've returned it at all. That's crazy. It's only fair that I get a little something for myself, since it's not like he ever would have gotten it back without me. Head back to my bench and inspect my prize. A blue bill and a brown one. These feel sturdy, nothing like the paper I expected.
1, 0, 10, and 5. So 15.
Incredible. 15 isn't much. I should have definitely kept the whole wallet. Oh well, at least this should be enough to buy myself something to drink. My thirst is starting to get the better of me, as I haven't had anything since I snuck onto the airship. Airship? Following my nose, I walk down the busy street until I find one of the many cafes lining the path. The sign hanging above its door has a picture of a bell on it. The charming bell rings out from above the door as I enter. Can't help but savor the wave of refreshing, cool air washing over me, which feels even better after so much running.
Hiya! Welcome to the Bell House!
The barista behind the counter is the only other person in the store right now, as I nod in greeting, and she leans forward with a cup in one hand and a pen in her other.
What can I get you? We're having a special on affogatos if you want to try one.
Ah, hell yeah.
Usually, they're like $7, but today, they're only 5. I'd like a...
Take the affogato. Not sure what an affogato is. Isn't that a vegetable? Not wanting to commit to the strange sounding drink, I look at the menu instead. You buffoon. Unfortunately, it's full of handwritten, spindly letters. Can't read a single word, and there are no helpful pictures. Safe option it is.
I'll just have a vanilla latte. Ugh, boring. But okay. Name? Mio.
It's my first time testing out how that name sounds, and I decide that I like it. I decided on the airship that that was the name that I would use here in Wellington. I've used so many names throughout my life that I can't remember most of them. For each new city that I visit, I come up with something new. Foxes don't have any use for names, and nobody ever gave me one. She scribbles something on the cup with a black marker. If that's how this name looks, then I'm even more pleased with it.
$4.50, please.
I hand her the brown bill, and she gives me back a big coin with a picture of a boat on it.
All right. I'll have this ready for you in no time.
She sure seems enthusiastic. Not as she spins around and starts working. Looking about somewhere to sit, I decide on a seat by the window with the sun pouring in. I love how it zoomed in to the counter opposite of where the window with the sun is, I assume. Near the entrance of the cafe, there's a wire rack with a stack of maps and tourist pamphlets, so I grab one of the maps before taking my seat. This cafe is big and bright, with plants everywhere. They're on the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Most of them are real and vibrant, obviously being well cared for. Even the lights that hang down from the ceiling have glass ornaments with little shrubs in them. Seems like I made a good choice coming here. Any place with a bit of nature in it is more comfortable to me than places without.
I guess I should find a place to stay.
Looking down to the map I took, I traced the path I made from the port to this cafe. It's useful, but it doesn't really tell me anything helpful about the houses in particular. I'll need to find a higher vantage point. Move my finger along the hills I noticed from outside, following the little brown path to a patch of green with a little mountain icon. That should work for now.
Miho!
My ears perk up right as the barista arrives and places my drink in front of me.
Thanks!
I reach over and take the warm cup in my hand, but the barista doesn't let go.
You ready for the rain tomorrow? Huh? It's gonna rain tomorrow.
I glance behind me out the window. It's as sunny and blue a day as I've ever seen.
How do you know that? There aren't any clouds out there. I'm just good with the weather. Anyway, if you forget, then you'll be sorry.
She finally, ominous, weirdly threatening. She finally lets go of my drink and heads back behind the counter. People are fucking weird. Does the barista pull that on everyone? Standing on the doorstep, I have my first sip.
Oh, this is really good.
Have you never had one before? How'd you know to order it then? It's pretty plain, but well made. The coffee isn't too bitter, which is perfect for me. With a moment to myself, my thoughts turn inwards as I sip the warm drink. My first travels were in search of someone, but despite my whole life being spent trying, haven't made any progress in finding them, so I've taken to simply wandering, going wherever I wish at the time. I'd been itching for a change of scenery anyway, so I snuck onto the first airship that I could. The best part about owning nothing but the clothes on my back is that I can pick up and leave whenever I feel like it. I take a moment to get my bearings and look around. I see a tired-looking person shuffling along the far footpath with a briefcase in their hand. They stop outside one of the buildings, take a deep breath, and pat their face a couple times and then go inside. They must not be looking forward to whatever's going to happen in there. Maybe they have to fight someone. Through the large glass windows of another store, a fawn is trying on a pair of shoes, but they don't seem to fit her hooves. The people waiting with her look annoyed. I wonder if she fusses around with her footwear a lot. For a while, I simply let the day roll by and watch the various figures who stroll by. People watching is fun, especially in such a busy city. Eventually, I go to sip my coffee, only to find nothing coming out. With no more reason to stick around, it's time to go. On the sunlit street, I look about to match what I can see with the map's directions. There's a tall green mountain in the distance ahead of me, which must be the one on the map. It'll be the perfect vantage point for the city. Ideally, I'll find an empty building I can crash in, but it's not necessary. Roof over my head would be nice, but I'm plenty used to sleeping outside under the stars. Sometimes it's better than sleeping in a bed. Encouraged by the plan forming in my head, I set off on the long walk to the summit. Oh. For some reason, I thought that it would, I don't know, maybe I'm just West Coast habits. I was like, you gotta go this way. The path to the mountain turns out to be less simple than the map made it look. First, a trail takes me along the waterfront, and then it turns upwards through a small forested area. Being among the trees and their tall shadows make me feel at home. When the path leaves the woods again, I'm a little disappointed. It leads up to a paved road, so I stick to the edge to avoid passing cars. Sometimes I take shortcuts through yards or up unmarked paths. There are quite a few nice-looking homes right along the roadside. I make a mental note to go check them out when I'm low on money or food. Not much further along, a concrete lookout offers another glimpse of the city below. A couple airships are coming into dock at the skyport, probably from one of the other floating islands. I'm sorry? See, the mention of New Zealand made me think, oh, okay, this is the normal Earth. And then the like, sort of hybrid people had me thinking, okay, this is normal though, so just a weird alternate Earth. Now you're saying floating islands. And I don't know, are you talking Are we talking like floating in the air? Like air floating islands? There's still a ways to go to the top of the mountain, but luckily the walk has been easy so far. I wouldn't even consider it a hike. Eventually I reach the final stretch of road. I can see where it curves ahead to the summit, and I hurry to the end. The metal railing spreads out like a crown on top of the mountain. As I go to toss my empty cup away, a pair of chatting tourists pass me by.
How far is it from here?
Oh, about an hour from the base of Mount Victoria, so a bit further from here.
Mount Victoria.
I'm glad to know what this place is called. Surprised it didn't say that on the map. Say the name out loud to help commit it to memory. Standing at the edge, I'm treated to a wonderful view of Wellington. This city forms a crescent moon shape around the bay, which glitters like a sapphire from up here. The sun is starting to set, and that makes the water even more shimmery. Even more airships can be seen coming and going. I think that I can even see the edge of the floating island we're on, miles out in the open sky. What happened here? I survey the city using the skyport as a reference point. From up here, what felt like such a long chase really doesn't look far at all. If I strain my eyes, I think I can even see the coffee shop from earlier. What was it the barista said it was called? The Bell House? Kinda tough to make out details. My hearing and sense of smell may be great, but my eyes aren't that much better than a human's. Then I notice something useful.
Look! Is that our house?
Probably. What can you see from here?
I see Dad's car!
Not too far away, there's a little kid who's using a pair of metal tubes attached to a post. His mom is helping him aim it at the city. Must be something that improves your vision? The moment the kid and his mom leave, I hurry over before someone else can get to them first. When I press my eyes to the same spot that the child did, though, all I can see is black. I try moving it around, but it doesn't change. Is this thing busted? Some text is printed on the side. I have no idea what it says. There's a small slot, though, with a picture of a coin next to it. Lucky for me, it's the coin that has a 50 on it. I put the coin that I received from the barista into the slot and spin a lever. The machine eats my coin, and then when I put my eyes to it again...
Yes!
Everything looks much closer now. Even the trees on the other side of the hill appear in crystal clear detail, like I'm standing right next to them. I aim the viewing glasses at the city and look around, trying to find a good place to rest for the night. Houses are a no-go. Even if they look empty or abandoned, you can never let your guard down for a minute. Same with most shops. I don't have enough money for a hotel, and I won't risk sneaking into one of those either. As I'm studying the sights, trying to memorize as much as I can, there's a clicking sound, and once again the view goes black. Stupid machine. I smack it a couple of times and check again, but I still can't see anything.
Well, whatever. Looks like I'm sleeping outside tonight. Guess this place is as good as any.
I head back down the trail a little bit and veer off of it into the underbrush.
Not perfect, but it'll do.
In the middle of the road? It's not exactly the wilderness, but just about everything here seems cityfied to some extent. Usually when I make a den, I prefer to find a place far from other people, a place where nobody will find me. I doubt I'll find anything perfect, but this is good enough.
It's fine. Can't afford to be picky.
Once the trail I was on is out of sight, I transform again. My neck gets warm as my bead activates, and a few seconds later, I'm on all fours. As a fox, the sensations of nature are much stronger. The earth beneath my paws is cool and refreshing, and the breeze whips through my tail like a massage. I hurry down a hill covered in grass so tall that it reaches way over my head. I can smell fresh water and follow the scent to a small stream where I'm able to quench my thirst. It's just as satisfying as the drink I got at the cafe, but in a different way. And being able to slurp up water is more enjoyable than having to use a straw, or worse, one of those lids with the tiny holes. For a little while, I follow my nose to some berries and some edible plants that'll do for a snack. Unfortunately, unlike the water, foraging is never as satisfying as eating human food. If I want a real meal tonight, then I should pick up the pace before it gets too late. Still, I want to get this done now while there's still daylight. I keep close to the stream and search for a place where the ground is soft. Before too long, I find a promising area, a small valley with hills on both sides and thick foliage on the others. Still close enough to civilization to hear cars and other city noise, but the area I'm in doesn't seem like it gets visited very often. At the very least, it doesn't really smell like people. The spot that I settle on is a nice mound of earth near the edge of the woods, partially hidden by a tall tree with low-hanging leaves. Even if no one comes by, it makes me feel better knowing that I'll be out of sight. And so I start to dig. Claws rip away the dirt as I burrow downwards, widening the tunnel just enough for my sleek frame to fit. First I dig downward, then forward, and then downward, widening out an area that's big enough for my whole body to fit. This is something I've been doing my whole life, even back when I was just a regular fox. Oh, so this is a new development. I think that's why I don't mind it too much, compared to sleeping inside somewhere. It just feels right to me. It takes a little while, and by the time I'm finally finished, the first few stars have started to peek out from the sky. I shake myself clean of the dirt that sticks to my coat and then transform back into my human form.
Spread this here, a couple of branches here, some leaves there.
I walk around the valley a bit, checking from different angles.
Not bad for just an afternoon's work.
If you weren't looking for it, I don't think you'd ever notice anything out of place. All that digging has made me work up an appetite, and not the kind that'll be satisfied with just a few berries.
Ugh, I'm so hungry. I haven't had a real meal since yesterday.
My stomach rumbles painfully. I've been so busy since arriving here in Wellington that I kind of forgot just how hungry I was. I'll grab some human food back in town. Casting one last glance at my afternoon's work, I set off toward the city.
Work never ends. Time to get some food!
Yummy! I'm a bit disappointed when I finally get back to the busy street from before. I was hoping that it would be emptier now and that all of the stores would be closed. Turns out I was half right. A lot of the shops have gone dark for the evening, but there are just as many people walking around now as there were earlier. In fact, there might be even more. The patio of a restaurant has a bunch of tables full. A mermaid... What? A mermaid is sitting in the fountain I sat by earlier, chatting with a cyclops. What? My brain is rewiring. Even the cafe that I visited is crowded now, with a line almost out the door. After pacing up and down the road for a while, I sit down and try to figure out what to do next. Not too worried about what would happen if I got caught stealing. I'd just escape, obviously. And even if they somehow managed to catch me, it wouldn't be an issue for very long. See, there's something different about me that makes me extra good at being a thief. It's not just the skills I have practiced over the years, like picking locks and sneaking around. No, it's a bit more special than that. Without fail, every single person I meet forgets about me by the next day. I don't know why, but I don't really care either. It's magic, that's all I know about it. Really useful magic. Everywhere I go, no matter how careless I am, all of my problems are solved by the next day. Doesn't mean there's no danger. I've been caught in the act before and beaten or harassed before I can manage to get away. Even lost a few prizes that I stole fair and square because I had to get going in a hurry. But if someone sees me but isn't able to stop me, I know that I'll be home free. Sure, they might remember having something stolen, but they'll never know who did it. It almost makes things too easy. We're gonna really fuck up one of these times, I think. Right now, it would be smarter to just come back even later in the dead of night and hope that there are no people around. I'd be able to take my time browsing without having to worry about making a quick escape. We're not gonna do that. Where's the fun in that, though? I walk casually up and down the street, glancing into windows without being too obvious about it. Some stores still have customers inside, others have locked their doors and shut off the lights. Most of the restaurants are still open and are only making me hungrier. Stealing from restaurants is a bit much even for me, though. I've tried it before, but the cluttered kitchens as well as the tables and chairs make it hard to get around. Plus, I've learned the hard way that there are plenty of hot or sharp things for angry cooks to throw at you as you try to make your way out. Instead, packaged and pre-made foods are my best friends, things that I can grab multiples of at once and stuff into my pockets. If I'm really lucky, I'll find a place with refrigerated sandwiches or salads, or sometimes perfectly good hot food that gets thrown out. You wouldn't believe the kind of stuff that's available if you don't mind sifting through the trash a little bit. It's not ideal, of course, but a hot meal is a hot meal. I know plenty of foxes who've eaten much worse.
Target spotted.
It's perfect. A small convenience store, snacks lined up behind the front window. Even better, the shops on either side of it are closed too, so there's not many other people in the area.
Locked, huh? Not surprising.
I head down a nearby alley and find the back door, which is probably where they bring in new products. The alleyway is dark to begin with, and my dark clothes help me hide even better. I glance around the alley, glad like always for my excellent night vision. Nobody's watching, nobody's even around. Pull my hood up over my ears and tuck my tail between my legs, leaning against the sturdy door. To anyone not looking closely, I'm sure I appear as nothing more than a shadow. Dig around in my pocket until I find my trusty lockpick and then set to work on the door. It isn't a complicated lock at all, just a rather regular keyhole. With a click, the latch springs open just a few short moments later.
Bingo. Huh?
I try to tug the door towards me, but there's a chain on the inside that keeps it from opening very wide. No way a human could fit through the gap, but it would be easy for a fox. First, I slink away for a bit, idling on the nearby street like a regular pedestrian. Wait to see if anyone shows up, just in case I triggered a silent security system. Wow, we're smart. Okay, this ain't our first rodeo, huh? After about 10 minutes, I decided safe. We're not that careless, I guess. That's good. I transform under cover of darkness in the alley and slip into the building before transforming back. The shop isn't very big, and the receiving area is just a small hallway with a few boxes of soda and candy bars on the floor. I grab a couple of my favorites and shove them into my pockets. Where do they go when you transform back? Is it just like magic? It goes where your clothes go, which is into the fucking void or whatever. When I creep into the main area, I make sure to stay low to the ground, trying to avoid being seen from outside. I'm not exactly hidden, but as long as I don't stand up, I shouldn't attract anyone's attention. I move fast, cramming as much into my coat as I can. Cookies, protein bars, popcorn. Not very picky. When my coat starts to feel pretty heavy, I grab a plastic bag from behind the counter and transfer some of my loot into there. I also take a few bottles of water and sports drinks from the coolers. Just as I'm about to leave, I spot a few of those coveted plastic-wrapped sandwiches I was thinking about earlier.
Jackpot!
I fill my bag with sandwiches until it's almost overflowing, then I head back out the way I came in. In total, I was in and out in under 5 minutes, and I've got enough supplies to last me several days. When I step into the alley, I glance around in both directions, making sure no one saw me emerge from the store. I don't see anyone, but my neck prickles as if someone is watching me. Maybe it's because there's usually security cameras in a place like this. Does that whole people forget you the next day thing work if it's on recorded video? I sniff the air, but I don't notice anything out of the ordinary. Nothing that wasn't there before. Still. What the was that a bat? Suddenly there's a flap of wings and a bat flutters past me from out of the shadows. Goes right over my head and disappears from sight up the street.
Oh, that's it?
Little do you know that bat was actually an undercover cop, okay? I let out the breath I'd been holding and start making my way back towards the mountain where I made my den. I let the bag swing from my arms as I walk, whistling a song I heard earlier. I'm not able to keep a smile off my face.
All in all, not a bad first day. I've got a nice nest, food to spare, and plenty of places to explore tomorrow.
There have been plenty of days in my life where I had none of those things. I unwrap one of the sandwiches that I grabbed and take a big bite.
Nothing beats the taste of hard work.
I hope Wellington continues to treat me well while I'm here.
So tired. I'm gonna sleep so well tonight.
I unpack everything that I got from the store, as well as the treasures that I always carry with me. My lockpick, my wallet, a few pretty stones. The only thing that I leave in my jacket is a small scroll.
Can't get that damaged or dirty.
Duh. I change back into a fox and then dig another hole near the entrance to my den. This one is much simpler and shallower, and I bury some of the snacks that I stole before covering them back up with dirt.
Not like anyone's gonna come by and swipe my things, but better safe than sorry. I stole this myself after all. Don't want it being stolen from me.
Stuff like my pen and my favorite rock go into the burrow with me, since I like having them close by. Once I've got everything where it belongs, I climb into the hole myself, turning a few circles before settling down with my tail wrapped around me. From here, I have a perfect view of the stars. I look up at the clear night sky through the mouth of the tunnel. I feel bad for all the people way down on the underworld. I'm sorry? Huh?
Can they even see the stars from there?
I've never been to the underworld, so I have no idea. Can't imagine falling asleep without them. Comfortable and safe, I close my eyes and quickly slip off to dreamland. I have so many questions about the world building here. I wake up to trouble, or at least a threat. I'm sure it's only morning as I peer out the burrow's entrance, but the sky is already dark and foreboding. My attention moves from the ominous rain clouds above to the trees outside my den, their branches shaking in the strong breeze.
I can't believe that girl from the cafe was right!
I climb up the tunnel and out into the open, sniffing the air. Just tells me what I already know. Storm is coming, and fast. But also, another scent plays on my nose, one so faint that I almost brush it off before taking another smell. Surely I'm wrong. There's no way that... Lowering my snout to the ground, I investigate the area and then decide that I'm right. Change into my human form and look around.
Someone's been here.
Yeah, someone's definitely been here, but the scent isn't a human's. It's vaguely familiar, but at the same time not like anything I recognize.
And it definitely wasn't here when I went to sleep.
They must have come here in the night and stopped right outside my den.
Were they watching me sleep? Oh crap!
As a fox, I dive back into my hole to make sure everything's still there. My heart pounds in my chest, but nothing appears to be missing. I also check the spot where I buried my stash from last night, but that hasn't been disturbed either. I breathe a sigh of relief. If any of my stuff had been stolen, I'd be so fucking pissed. But that still doesn't answer the question of what they did want, and that's even more concerning. I'm a pretty light sleeper, and usually the slightest sound or motion will wake me up. So if someone was able to sneak up on me, even I have to be impressed. Impressed and a little bit worried. I've got a more pressing issue right now, though, and I stare up at the sky in disappointment.
Ugh, I hate the rain.
I would have found a different place to make my nest and hide my supplies if I'd known this would happen. If only I was told about this. Instead, both burrows will probably just be piles of mud by the end of today.
I should have found a place with a roof after all.
I fill my pockets with my most important possessions and some of the food I grabbed last night. Everything else I wrap as tightly in the plastic bags as I can and bury in my den. Hopefully I can find somewhere fast and then move everything else over before it gets ruined. An abandoned house would be perfect, or some other place where I'd be able to hide. Why not just carry the stuff with you? Why have to come back here? You silly, silly buffoon. Just about to get going when I hear a loud flapping noise overhead catches my attention. Expect it to be a bird, but instead it's yet another bat. Perhaps the same one. Oh, it's so cute! This one's even bigger than the one I saw last night. Its wings are way longer and noisier. I can even hear it squeaking something as it flies past. Some people say bats and foxes are similar. I don't see it. I watch it fly around for a little while before it takes off towards the city.
Maybe it knows somewhere to stay. Guess I'll follow it for now.
Yeah, sure. A couple times it disappears between the trees or just too far ahead, but I always manage to catch back up. Eventually, we're out of the woods and back into civilization, where a car whizzes right past me. There's a sidewalk here and other people are walking around. Most of them look up to the sky nervously, though, and everyone seems to be in a hurry.
Guess I'm not the only one looking to get away from the rain.
I'm just about to get going when a loud flapping sound overhead catches my attention. Expect it to be a bird, but instead it's yet another bat. More people seem to be going in the direction I was headed than anywhere else, so I stick to that. By now, my winged guide is almost out of sight again, just a little black speck in the sky flying into the distance. Farther up this road, there's a slope that leads to a big, fancy-looking building. It doesn't look like a shop or a restaurant, at least not one that I've ever seen, but there are so many people going in and out that it has to be open to the public. Good enough for me. It'll give me somewhere dry to spend some time, and maybe I can learn something useful. Plus, places like this usually have plenty of valuables inside. If I'm lucky, I might be able to find something to fund my next few days. After all, the bigger the target, the less likely they are to notice something's missing. The sturdy oak door isn't as heavy as it looks, firm push being enough to heave it open. Gingerly stepping inside and out of the rain, I'm greeted by books. Lots of books. Books on shelves, books on tables, books on the floor, books everywhere. What kind of library has books on the floor? Hey, wait a minute. Oh my god, I know this picture. What was that one called? Winter Woods something. It was a good one. The place even smells of musty old paper, and the dozen or so people inside are mostly leafing through pages in the aisles. The odd silence about the building is striking, given how many are around. Doesn't look like a shop, so I assume this must be a library. I've heard of them, but never been in one. No point, since I can't read and all. But it's warm and cozy and very dry, so it'll do just fine. There's a desk near the entrance with a computer on it that I assume would be where I check in. It's unattended, which is good for me. I take a seat in an empty chair nearby and sit back just to observe for a bit. There are plenty of people, but it's not too busy. Lots of empty, unwatched spaces. Most folks seem to be here alone or in small groups that keep to themselves. There's not much conversation going on, and what there is all whispered. Nobody gives me a second glance, which is a good sign. It means I'm probably not breaking any rules just by being here. Behind the desk, there's a hallway leading deeper into the building, and I peek around the corner to see what's back there. All I can see are some shut doors, and at the very back, a staircase. After glancing around to make sure no one's watching, I sneak down the hall and try a couple of the doors. All of them are locked. I could probably pick them if I wanted to. No sense trying to do that now, though. Is there anything more valuable around? Antique clock or vase would be perfect. How are you gonna carry that out of here? Hello? What are you talking about? You silly, silly goof. Sadly, it's almost all books. Books and small trinkets that look pretty worthless. Not even worth the trouble of stealing. At least it's got a roof. I do spot a couple promising items, like a set of old coins, and memorize their locations. I wander back to the main area where I came in. Outside, it hasn't started raining yet, but it's only a matter of time. The wind is loud and gusty, and even opening the door is enough to make me shiver. If nothing else, I can probably wait out the rain here, but my poor abandoned snacks back at the den. What a fucking waste. Can't do anything about it now, though. I should keep looking around. I move slowly about the area, never going beyond what seems to be the public area. I pretend to inspect a few books, taking them off the shelves and flipping through the pages, but I'm actually mapping out the place in my head. Doors, windows, potential places to hide, things like that. Most of the time, this kind of info is unnecessary. It's been at least a few decades since I have had to make a dramatic escape from anywhere. At this point, plotting an escape route is just a habit. Overall, I like what I'm seeing. Even with the locked doors and off-limits hallways, there are lots of nooks and crannies that would make good hiding spots, especially as a fox. From the thick dust that coats a lot of these areas, I can tell they don't get a whole lot of visitors. If I'm careful, I might be able to go a whole week or more without being noticed. As long as I can get in and out of the building easily, that is, and with the huge windows that line the back wall, that seems easy enough too. I weave around a couple shelves that are taller than I am, heading for the far back corner. I peer around the corner of the last aisle just to make sure I'm alone. But I'm not. At a small table by the window sits a woman with a small book in her hand, resting against her fingers. She's perfectly still, but mouths the words on the page as she reads, like she's tasting them instead of just seeing them. Her expression has the distant look of someone way off in their own world, far away from this one. She looks so at peace that I think she must belong in that other world. She's beautiful and elegant in the same way as a painting, with the light from the window shining on her like a display. I duck back behind the bookshelf, pressing one hand to my racing heart. My other bumps against one of the books on the shelf and it falls with a dusty thump. Cursing my clumsiness, I silently back away in case she decides to investigate, but she doesn't leave her chair.
I suppose it's nothing.
She turns and gazes out the open window at what? I don't know. A moment later, she returns to her book and leaves this world again. I stay hidden, my face still burning a little bit. Yeah, I think this will be the perfect place to spend some time. Suddenly, there's a much louder boom than the one I caused as thunder rumbles outside. A few people around the library startle at the sound and look around. Sighing, the girl in the chair pulls the window beside her closed. First drops of rain falling not a minute later. I'll investigate the windows later. right now I don't want to bother her. So I head back to one of the plush chairs on the other side of the library and take a seat. Could be here a while, depending on how long the rain lasts, so I may as well get comfy. Find a few books that have more pictures than words and curl up in one of the soft chairs to flip through them. There aren't as many of those ones, and I go through the stack pretty fast. Takes long enough for the rain to start, though. The longer I read, the louder the pounding of the rain and the howling of the wind become. Guess it's not letting up anytime soon. Can't complain, though. This library is pretty cozy by my usual standards. It's warm and safe, and nobody tells me to go away. I even have snacks. More than once, I get up and walk around the library again, even though I've got most of it memorized by now. I take note of things like a child's stuffed toy that's lying on the floor in one section, or the thin blanket that's stuffed between a bookshelf and the wall. On my third or fourth trip around, I finally find something I'd been looking for. In one of the far corners, totally opposite from where I saw the girl reading earlier, there's a single chair and a small table. On the wall nearby is a portrait. The painting itself is of a girl with light brown hair, but I barely pay any attention to that. What I'm interested in is the frame. It's a really good picture, though. It's lovely. Looks like it might be made out of gold. Certainly shines like it. It's carved intricately into the shape of waves, flowing up and down. It's gotta be worth something. I pretend to not pay much attention to it as I make my way back to my table. There are too many other people around for me to try to be able to sneak it out. It's too big to fit under my jacket without being obvious. That just means I'll have to come back some other time, maybe once the place is closed. The hours pass by and the storm continues. Kind of disappointed about losing a whole day, especially so soon after arriving, but it's not like I'm in any sort of hurry. Pat one of my pockets, feeling the familiar and reassuring weight of the paper scroll that's tucked away there. That scroll is the only thing close to a purpose that I have, and it's not particularly urgent, or at least I don't have any way to deal with it faster. I spend a long time reading. It's almost afternoon when I go and check the windows again, but the rough weather outside continues. At this rate, I'll be sleeping in a puddle of mud tonight. Unless... A quick check shows that a lot of the other library patrons have left. It's not empty, but it's not nearly as full as earlier. Guess some of them decided it was worth braving the rain. Looking as nonchalant as I can, I get up from my seat and pretend to browse again, slowly moving through the shelves. The reading girl is gone now, although she's not what I was looking for. Instead, I pick up the dropped toy and blanket that I spotted earlier and then head to one of the out-of-the-way hiding spots I picked out before. It's on the floor between a shelf and the wall, but it has a bit of carpet to help make it softer. Even better, it's between two corner shelves, meaning that it's practically out of sight if you're not looking for it. I wriggle my way between the furniture and lie down, using the toy as a pillow and draping the blanket over me. Toss and turn a few times before finally settling down.
Yep, not bad at all.
Even though I haven't done much today, I'm always down to take a nap. I can pass a few hours by sleeping, wake up once it's dark, and then grab that picture frame and be on my way. I'll have to rebuild my den once I get back, but that's a problem for future me. I yawn, staring up at the ceiling until my eyes get heavy.
Maybe today won't be a total waste after all.